So welcome to the daily current affair discussion. The first topic is about the coal gasification scheme. Under this, 600 crore has been provisioned for demonstration project of indigenous technology or small scale product based gasification plants. A lump sum grant of 100 crore or 15% of the capex, which is lower, will be given to the selected entity for this project. Selection of entity: the selection of the entity under categories 2 and 3 through a competitive and transparent bidding process. Okay, so coal gasification is a thermochemical process that convert coal into simple molecules, primary carbon monoxide and hydrogen, called synthesis gas or syngas. Hello. 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 Ah. Ah. So coal gasification is a thermochemical process that convert coal into simple molecules, primarily carbon monoxide and hydrogen, called synthesis gas or syngas. In the gasification process, coal is partially oxidized by air, oxygen, steam or carbon dioxide under controlled condition to produce a liquid film known as the syngas. Hello? Sure, separate. That is known as syngas. Significant, the combustion of this gas is cleaner and more efficient than coal combustion since emissions are trapped at the gasification station. No emission is released. Method of coal gasification: in situ method. In this, oxygen is infused into the steam together with water and ignited at high temperature, causing coal to partially oxidize into hydrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, and hydrogen sulfide. Ex situ reactor, they are designed to simulate the gasification process above the ground surface. Sulfur in coal is transformed to H2S and trace volume of carbonyl sulfide during the gasification process. Need of coal gasification: a proven reserve of thermal coal, a country's total estimated coal resource for the coal inventory published by the Geological Survey of India as of 1st April 2021 is 3,61,141.46 million tons coal reserve is there in India. Global standing: second largest in the world after China. India has okay. So coal gasification target: the government has launched the National Coal Gasification Mission to achieve coal gasification and liquefaction of 100 metric ton of coal by 2030. Government production target: the government aims for self-reliance by boosting domestic production. So targeting over 1 billion tons in 2023-24 and further increase to 1.5 billion ton by 2029-30. Reducing import dependency: India has a huge dependency on import of crude and natural gas-based products, mainly methanol, ammonia nitrate, and olefins, which can be easily substituted by byproducts derived from the syngas. Transition to sustainable energy: India has a huge reserve of coal. Okay. Reducing import dependency: India has a huge dependency on import of crude and natural gas-based products, mainly methanol, ammonia nitrate, and olefins, which can be easily substituted by the byproduct of derived from the syngas. Transition to sustainable energy: India has a huge reserve of coal. It would benefit India if it finds a sustainable way of using these reserves. As the world, including India, is gradually transitioning away from coal towards cleaner fuel in the wake of climate change. Sustainable use of coal: given India's growth potential and rising demand for power, the demand for coal is projected to range from current requirement of nearly 1 billion tons to 1.5 billion tons by 2029-30. Pharmaceutical industry: India plans to produce API domestically rather than importing them from China. This next topic. So about the API, or active pharmaceutical ingredients used in the pharmacy. So there is a high potential of syngas to make API and methanol as a solvent. Cleaner and environmental friendly. Coal gasification plant produce no scarbor sludge. The majority of the waste water is reprocessed and residual wastewater from gasification plants can be treated effectively. As a result, coal gasification is considered a cleaner coal technology than coal combustion. Challenges with coal gasification in India: inferior quality of coals. The highest content Indian coal is a technical barrier to a large adoption of the coal gasification. The ash percentage of indigenously available coal ranges between 3.5 to 30 to 35%. Okay, so induced subsidence and surrounding rocks, the space created by deep mining during the coal gasification may cause significant deformation in the remaining coal and surrounding rocks. Occupational hazard, the coal gasification process cannot be controlled to the same extent as surface gasifier, which poses the risk of high temperature and pressure in the cavity, furthering the workers' risk. Environmental factor, according to some studies, coal gasification generates more carbon dioxide than conventional coal power station. Groundwater contamination, while the nation already faces water scarcity, coal gasification is a more water intensive energy generated method. Econo project is an inherently unsteady state process. So, economic process is an inherently unsteady state process. The flow rate and the heating value of the product gas will vary over time. Changes in the quantity and quality of gas produced will significantly impact the project's economies. Technological concern, lack of availability of proven gasification technology suitable for poor quality of the coal. Way forward, regulation of ash content. The ash content of the coal supply. Hello. हाँ बोल दो। हम्म हम्म ना तार नंबर का रजिस्ट्रेशन करो ना 9438335130 ना नंबर चेंज नहीं की चेंज यदि कर से डाटा में दोनों फील्ड की ना चेंज नो तो अपना जो मेरे एंट्री को क्या नाम था देखिए करना रजिस्ट्रेशन चेंज कर देना सब प्रोसेस पर्सनल ये नंबर है सिक्स 67138 Okay, regulation on ash content. The ash content of the coal supplies needs to be enforced. Present regulation limiting ash content to 34% and nothing being enforced. Coal washery pose challenges regarding investment, water usage and water disposal. So that is what the biggest challenge is for the Then coal washery pose challenges regarding investment, water usage, and water disposal. Coal blending is the path forward. Waste stream from the gasification process are easier to handle and can be value adding in themselves, like the sulfur and the slag. Level playing field exemption from the currently applicable cess duties on coal feedstock prices should be provided for environment friendly coal gasification project due to its clean technology adoption. National Pollution Coal Gasification and Liquefaction. So this should be urgently formulated and promulgated for faster and smoother implementation of coal gasification projects. Dedicated closed coal mines for coal gasification. Coal mines should be earmarked for coal gasification project to be awarded through auction linkage for better coal quality consistency, sustained supply and closure mining and transportation cost control. Viability gap funding, financial incentive from the government to support very high CAP, of gasification projects need to be improved and viable for energy security. Clean projects. Coal gasification offers a cleaner energy alternative, but overcoming technical and environmental challenges requires robust regulations, financial incentives, and sustainable practices to ensure successful implementation. Next is the women leaders in public finance. Gender responsive budgeting leads to better gender outcomes. Because in the last few years, government is emphasizing on the women-centric development, and it is called as the gender budgeting.
Blessing from Lazy.
So, systemic gender inequality exists despite global gains in human development indicators and economic opportunities. Gender responsive budgeting leads to better gender outcomes. As has been done in by the government of India since few years. So, unequal access to education, health services, and legal rights, violence against women, and cultural barriers result in unequal opportunities. For instance, women's labor force participation rate is 25% versus 58% for men, and on average, they are paid 34% lower than men. Moreover, women are disadvantaged when it comes to digital and financial inclusion, access to social protection, land, and housing. In fact, the gender gap has become worse after COVID, and the World Economic Forum's Global Gap Report 2023 notes that at current progress, it will take up 131 years to close the gender gap. Affirmative action in resource allocation is key to correcting historical inequalities. Gender equality in the distribution of resources has a positive multiplier effect for a country's socio-economic development. Boards and government can play a catalytic role through their planning and budgeting decisions. Here, robust public finance management system can ensure that government's expenditure improves public service delivery, speeds up poverty reduction, promotes equal opportunity, and achieves sustainable development goals. With governments around the world spending one-third of GDP on public services, applying the gender lens to these spending decisions would create potential for achieving better gender outcomes. Then, women in leadership position can further the agenda. IMF's Gender Strategy 2022 notes that female leadership and diversity on boards of financial institutions are associated with greater financial stability. It also points to this is an International Monetary Fund's Gender Strategy 2022 report. So it also points out that female political leaders political leadership is associated with the greater infrastructure spending and the educational attainment of girls. Research on Indian Panchayat Raj institutions show that female political leaders have a positive impact on female voter turnaround, health and education outcomes, and the aspirations of young girls to take up leadership roles. Further, having more women in public administration makes the government more responsible and accountable to diverse public interest, improve the quality of services delivered, and instill trust among citizens towards it. Finding from the private sector corroborates that women at all levels of management showed up as better leaders, more consistently supporting employees and championing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hence, it is evident that women leaders not only promote other women and their needs but also make informed and equitable spending decisions. However, women are underrepresented in decision making roles, particularly in the public finance domain. Globally, only 11% of the countries have women leading to financial ministries. India is one of the few countries with a women finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, but women's representation in public finance at other level is inadequate even in India. Very few women are represented in the public financial domain in India even. So globally, only 11% of the country have women leading the finance ministers. India is one of the few countries with a women finance minister. Among states, only Delhi government has two women finance minister. Has a women finance minister. Central Finance Commission, which are instrumental in resource allocation between three tiers of government, do not have a favorable women representation. The Finance Commission under Article 280 have no women member. Okay, that is a big issue. The recently commission, 16th Finance Commission, has one female member out of 5 members, only one among the 5 members in the 16th Finance Commission. Only 2 of the previous 6 finance commissions, 6 central finance commissions had women members, which only 1/5 representation. According to the Statistics Ministry report, women account for only 20% of the total employees in the Indian government's finance department. Further, an assessment of the employee in finance department across states show that women held only 27% of senior positions and only one state has a women finance minister head. The low representation of women in finance and public finance in particular is in sharp contrast with the available talent pool. Globally, women represents about 30% of the economic graduates and about 50% of the business graduate as per the IMF 2018 report. Evidently, there are barriers independent of educational background preventing women from joining the field of finance and advancing to top positions. The barriers range from systemic ones such as glass walls and glass ceilings or lapses in the provisions of an inclusive working environment, including child care services, to barriers such as lack of access to patronage network and inadequate training and mentoring. We cannot ignore women's representation in politics since elected representatives are key stakeholders in budget formulation, approval, and monitoring. Female politicians are known to represent the voices of other women and advocate for greater responsive policy and resource allocation. The Women Reservation Act 2023 is a milestone in guaranteeing the representation of women in Lok Sabha and the State Legislative Assembly, but it is limited on 1/3 for all the seats. 1/3 of the seats in rural and urban local body are also reserved for women in the Panchayat Raj and the municipalities, and in Odisha it is 50% for the Panchayat and municipality are reserved for the women. This is a very major step taken by the government of Odisha, where government of Odisha reserved 50% of the seats for women in the urban local body and in the rural local body also. Okay, so in fact 10 states have increased women representation to 50% in the PRIs. Not only Odisha but some other states, some 10 other states, 9 other states have also added this. Even though equal representation need to become a norm, we need to move from mere representation to the leadership. Female political leaders need to be trained to better understand and influence budgeting decisions. India, with a women finance minister, has led the pathway towards ensuring equal representation in the domain of management and raising aspirations of women to take up such roles. increase assimilation of qualified women into the public finance management, having access to a peer network, mentoring and training opportunity with a clear leadership trajectory, have the potential to stimulate systemic challenge while contributing to improve social and economic development outcomes. Okay, while there is no quick fix to systematic gender inequality, gender responsive budgeting, what is popularly known as gender budgeting, okay, can serve as an approach and method to close the gender gap in labor force participation, education, and health outcomes. India is among the 100 countries to have initiated this gender budgeting to address gender equality, but its coverage is limited. Gender equality considerations and related intersectionality are not adequately factored in during the design, implementation, and financing of the government planning. There is a need to mainstream gender in national development goals and strategy by integrating the gender budgeting concept across all programs, so schemes and departmental budgets across tiers of the government. And who better to lead this effort than women themselves, because this is what the women should lead in this domain, and the program should be more actively participated and actively supported by the women. Promoting gender equality in public finance and leadership is crucial for sustainable development and empowering women in these roles can drive systematic change and socio-economic progress in the country. Okay, so then digital jurisprudence in India in an AI era. The landmark Shreya single judgment of Code Section 79 of the IT Act, Information Technology Act. It grants intermediaries safe harbor protection against hosting content contingent upon meeting the due diligence requirements outlined in Section 3A 31B of the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines Rules. The context artificial intelligence, it is a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior in computers. It describes the action of machines accomplished tasking that have historical requirement human intelligence. It includes technology like machine learning, pattern recognition, big data, neural networks, self algorithms, etc. Facebook's facial recognition software, which identifies faces in the photo we post, the voice recognition software that translate commands to give a Alexa, etc. Some of the example of AI already around us, because directly they are being used. Our voice and our face are recognized, and accordingly the system is activated. So that has been already in use in a wider way. Generative AI industry projected to increase global GDP by as much as 7 to 10 trillion dollar. The development of generative AI solution. It is a cutting-edge technological advancement that utilizes machine learning and artificial intelligence to create new forms of media, such as text, audio, video, and animation. With the advent of advanced machine learning capabilities, it is possible to generate new and creative short and long-term content, synthetic media, and even deepfakes with simple text, also known as the prompts. AI innovations, the GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, the LLM, Large Language Model, GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformers, image generation to experiment, create commercial offering like the Dull E for image generation, ChatGPT for text generation. It can write blogs, computer code, and marketing copy, and even generate results for search queries. Previous judgment and AI, Christian Lobin Saw versus the Nikul Bajaj and others. Delhi High Court held that safe harbor protection applies solely to passive intermediaries, referring to entities functioning as mere conduit or passive transmitters of information. As Puttoswamy judgment established a foundation for privacy judgment in the country, leading to the enactment of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act in 2023. Okay, so the in large language model, making a distinction between user generated and platform generated content is challenging. Liability in the case of AI chatbots arises when the information is reposted on other platform by the user. Mere response to a user prompt is not considered dissemination. The ambiguity in classifying GAI tools, whether an intermediary is conduct or active creator, will complicate the ability of code to assign liability, particularly in user post. Classifying GAI tools, whether as intermediaries, conduits, or activity creator, will complicate the code's ability to assign liability. ChatGPT term of use attempt to shift liability to the user for all illegal output, but the enforceability of such term in India is uncertain. AI and copyright in India, Section 16 of the Indian Copyright Act 1957 especially provides that no person shall be entitled to protection of copyright except by the provisions of the Act. As in India, reluctance persists regarding the provisions of the copyright protection to work generated by AI globally. In the 161st Parliamentary Standing Committee report found that the Copyright Act of 1957 is not well equipped to facilitate authorship and ownership by artificial intelligence. Under current Indian law, a copyright owner can take legal action against anyone who infringes on his or her work with remedies such as injunctions and damages. Copyright infringement by AI tools is unclear. So what is the way forward? Consider granting GI platforms temporary immunity from liability following a sandbox approach. It allows responsible development while gathering data to identify okay uh, identify legal issue that could inform future law and regulations. So the process of data acquisition for the GI training requires an overhaul. Developers must prioritize legal compliance by ensuring proper licensing and compensation for the intellectual property used in training models, include revenue sharing or licensing agreement with the data owners. Licensing data for the GI is complex, such web data lacks a centralized licensing body similar to copyright society in the music industry. Creation of centralized platforms akin to stock photo websites such as the Getty Images, which simplify licensing. Streamline access to necessary data for developers, ensure data integrity against historical bias and discrimination. A holistic government-wide approach and judicious interpretation by the Constitutional Court are essential to maximize the benefit of this powerful technology, but safeguarding individual rights and protecting them against unwelcome harm all the while. It becomes imperative now to develop solutions through collaborative avenue to safeguard confidential information, identity, and even human rights, because this is the biggest threat perception once AI became useful. becomes imperative now to develop solutions through collaborative avenue to safeguard confidential information, identity, and even human rights. Yeah, so that next is issue with safety inspections in industrial area in India. The article highlights Maharashtra's ineffective safety inspection in industrial area, leading to repeated accidents, including notable incidents in 2016, 18, 2020, and 2023. It advocates for reforms aligned with international safety standards. A significant explosion in that Dombali in May 2024 caused multiple fatality and injuries, underscoring the urgency for the change. So what is the issue with safety inspection in industrial area in India? Low infection rate across India. Only 14.65% of registered factory and 26.2% of the hazardous factory were inspected in 2021. This low nationwide rate reflects systemic issue in industrial safety oversight. This issue is widespread, with the Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat showing even lower rate than the all India average. The major producing states having major industry, the rate of inspection is very low. Inspector shortage. The shortage of inspector exacerbated the problem. For instance, Maharashtra has only 48 out of 122 sanctioned inspector appointment 2021, resulting in each inspector being responsible for inspect 818 factory annually, which is humanly just not possible. Corruption and bribery. There are reports of informal agreement between inspectors and factory owners, leading to compromised safety inspection. Ineffective enforcement. The prosecution rate are low, with Maharashtra at about 14% 2021, reducing the deterrent effect of inspection. This contributes to repeated safety violations and accidents. What should be done? Implement International Labour Organization standards. Follow International Labour Organization standards for inspections, including unannounced visit and sufficient staffing. This will enhance safety compliance. Okay, penalty non-compliance. Impose penalty on both companies and state officials for safety lapses. This will ensure accountability and prevent negligence. Tackle corruption. Address corruption by ensuring inspections and genuine and free from bribery. Reports of understanding between inspectors and the factory owners must be limited for effective safety measures. Then the Jadui Pitara Magic Box. Indian Education Minister recently launched an innovative learning material for a foundational year of children called the Pitara. Jadui Pitara. About it consists of playbooks, toys, puzzles, posters, flashcards, storybooks, worksheet, as well as reflecting the local culture, social context, and language, designed to arouse curiosity and accommodate the diverse needs of learners in the foundational stage. It has been designed on the motto of learning through play under the National Curriculum Framework and available in 13 Indian languages. Objective: enriching the learning teaching environment and making it more child centric, lively, and joyful for the Amrit generation as envisioned in the NEP 2020. Diksha platform. The resource on the Jadui Pitara will be digitally available in Diksha platform portal and the mobile app, which can be used easily by anyone having the children to learn. Then the palm tree. Odisha plan to plant 1.9 million palm tree, restricting cutting to reduce lightning death, targeting area heavily affected during the pre-monsoon and monsoon season. Palm trees are part of the tropical forest ecosystem and include variety like the coconut, oil palm, areca nut, that palima. The palimara is the state tree of Tamil Nadu. They act as a natural conductor during lightning strikes, preventing loss of lives. What is lighting? It is a powerful electrical phenomena caused by the build-up of electrical charges within the cloud and between clouds and the grounds. It results in a brilliant flash of light and thunder. India is among few countries with an early warning system for lightning, providing a forecast up to 5 days in advance. Lightning accounted for 202,880 deaths in 2021, making up 40% of all accidental deaths due to natural forces, as reported by the National Crime Record Bureau in Odisha. Lightning frequency is highest in northeastern states and West Bengal, Sikkim, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Bihar. Li-Fi technology context. The Defense Ministry has adopted the HELPLINE Li-Fi technology to tackle communication challenges in the Indian Navy. Li-Fi developed by the HELPLINE uses light for secure wireless communication, supported by a grant under the India IDEX initiative. What is Li-Fi technology? Li-Fi light fidelity is a wireless communication technology using visible lights, especially LED bulbs, to transmit the data. Invented by Professor Harald Haas in 2011, Li-Fi offers high-speed bidirectional mobile communication similar to Wi-Fi, but with faster speeds, lower latency, and greater bandwidth, thousands of the terahertz. It operates by moduling LED light to encode binary data, which is then received and decoded by the photodiodes to transmit data wirelessly via visible light communications. This makes Li-Fi ideal for electromagnetic sensitive environments such as aircraft, cabins, hospitals, and nuclear power plants, as it does not cause electromagnetic interference and utilizes unused visible light frequency for communication. Rudram 1, India successfully tested its first indigenously anti-radiation missile called the Rudram 1. Okay, so it was developed by DRDO for the Indian Air Force and is an air-to-surface anti-radiation missile launched from the Sukhoi 30 Mk-1 fighter jets. It features INS GPS navigation and a passive homing head for accurate targeting of radiation-emitting sources. With an effective range of 500 meters to 15 km in altitude and up to 250 km in distance, Rudram 1 significantly enhances the Indian Air Force capability to suppress enemy air defense and neutralize critical installations. Indian industrial growth has been accompanied by recurring industrial incidents. Coming to the answer writing, India's industrial growth has been accompanied by recurring industrial incident, raising concern about the ineffectiveness of factory inspection mechanism. In light of this, critically analyze the current state of the factory inspection in India. So, examining its challenges and shortcomings. So, this is what we discuss in the topic as inspecting the factory. Coming to the MCQs. So consider the following statement about the India anti-radiation missile Rudram. It is developed by DRDO for the Indian Air Force. Right? It is an air-to-surface anti-radiation missile. So here, first is Li-Fi uses visible light spectrum to transmit data. Li-Fi can work through wall like the Wi-Fi. Then Li-Fi offers data transfer rates compared to offers higher data transfer rate compared to the Wi-Fi. So here 1 and 3 are correct. 2. Consider the following statement about the anti-radiation missile Rudram 1. It is developed by the DRDO for Indian Air Force and it is air-to-surface anti-radiation missile. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Consider the following statement: lightning always strikes the tallest object. Lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. Right? Thunder is caused by the rapid expansion of air around the lightning bolt. So here 1 and 3 are correct, only 2. Facial recognition technology primarily relies on which of the following techniques? So voice modulation analysis, fingering scalp, image processing and machine learning, retinal scanning, image processing and machine learning. C. Consider the following statement about the Atal Pension Yojana. It is an initiative of the government to provide financial security to cover future exigency for the people in the unorganized sector. Atal Pension Yojana, administered by the Life Insurance Corporation under the overall administrative industrial architecture of the National Pension Scheme. So here only one is correct. Consider the following statement of the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. It is a 1-year accident insurance scheme renewable from year to year, offering coverage of death or disability due to accident. Right, person at the age of 21 to 60 years having an individual bank or post office account are entitled to enroll under the scheme now up to 40 years. The primary the premium of the scheme is automatically debited every year from the subscribed bank account based on one-time mandate to the account holder. Here 1 and 3 are correct. That means only 2 are correct. Consider the following statement about the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. It is a one-time life insurance scheme renewed from year to year, offering coverage death due to any reason. Person in the age group of 18 to 50 years having an individual bank account, post office are entitled to open the accounts. No, this is not correct. This is correct. Okay. So the premium under this scheme is auto debited every year from the subscribed bank account based on a one-time mandate from the account holder. Here all the 3 are correct. Recently, which organization announced the new World Soil Health Index at the International Conference on Soil? It was by the United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO. Consider the following statement about the NASA's DART Double Asteroid Radiation Test Mission. Utilized nuclear explosion to alter the path of the asteroids. The mission successfully altered the orbit of the asteroid Dimphos. So here only 2 is correct. So consider the following statement about the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. The POD is a long-term oceanographic phenomena characterized by variations in the sea surface temperature of the Pacific Ocean. During the positive phase of the PDO, sea surface temperature are warmer than average along the west coast of North America. The PDO has a regular and practical cycle, making it easier to forecast impact on climate. Only 1 and 2 are correct, 3 is incorrect. Thank you for watching. Watch regular update yourself.